Hello, my angels and devils, and all who may wander here. Ho, ho, ho! Amanda Claus here. So I'm going to give you a bit of a story time. This is what Christmas was like for me growing up as a kid in Australia. I grew up in a very, very 70s type neighborhood. Everybody called everybody aunt and uncle. It was just, yeah, that was just the nature of the neighborhood. I grew up on what I call a 2.5 house street, literally, because the backyards of 2 houses kind of were part of our street. Like, literally, my street was 2.5 houses. That's it. I'm not going to tell you where I grew up. It's changed a lot now. But anyway, so what would happen is the very first person to wake up on Christmas morning would run around the neighborhood knocking on everybody's door and wake everybody up so that we could all get up and open presents. Usually that was Lisa Corbin, because Lisa was usually the one up the earliest. Now, before that, on Christmas Eve, the dads would go out, they would grab beers, and they would literally all go from house to house putting together bikes, trampolines, whatever needed to be put together that year. One year it was an outdoor pool, I kid you not. So that's the kind of neighborhood it was. So basically, once that happened, you'd get up, you'd open your presents, and then we would all migrate across the street to my second mum's home, Auntie Mari's, for breakfast. And that would be, because they would get this huge ham, like a huge ham that would take up a shelf in their big fridge, like, and barely fit. And they grew the most beautiful tomatoes in their garden. So you would have ham and tomato on toast with salt and pepper. That's my favourite Christmas breakfast. That I don't always have it now, but that was always my favourite thing to have. And then we would kind of all go our separate ways, and I would go to my grandma's or to whatever uncle and aunt was hosting that year, but usually my grandma's or my Nana Bonnie's, as she was always called. So I feel like I'm doing shifty eyes. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to look more at the camera. So we would go to my nan's and we would hang out with our relatives. We would have pretty much ham and salad and chicken and just lots of salads, and there'd be Christmas foods, and Mum would make her pineapple fruitcake, which to this day is pretty much the only fruitcake I like to eat. And we would just all hang out. The kids would play. There was a swing set out the back that used to be my swing set growing up. There was a big backyard. Sometimes we would walk up to, the kids would get a couple of dollars and we'd go walking and get an ice cream, or go up to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. And it was just a big family gathering. That's pretty much it. That's how I grew up. I grew up in a very idyllic kind of neighborhood where everybody sort of hung out with everyone else, and if you were fighting with one lot of kids, you could play with a different lot of kids. I was an only child in a neighborhood. Pretty much no one else in my neighborhood was an only child. So it was kind of a weird thing. But yeah, so we would, you know, summers were filled with things like, and for us, Christmas is in summer, so the Christmas holidays were always filled with pool hopping, and because most of us had pools at one point. And everybody didn't like to come to my pool because we had a saltwater pool and it was really cold. But I loved that as a kid. I loved, and even as a teenager, just diving into cold water. I do not see the point of going swimming if the pool water is warm. Like, what's the point? You're not going to cool off. It doesn't do much. But I love swimming, and I love that kind of thing. So that was always fun for me. Sometimes we would go swimming on Christmas Day. Once in a while we would have a family barbecue at a place called Lake Gillawana, which is like, has these really cool kids playgrounds, like this rope thing that you can climb on, and I remember how proud I was the first time I made it to the top of that. Some really fun playground areas and stuff. So yeah, that was my kind of Aussie Christmas growing up. Let me know below some of the things in your childhood, what you grew up with for Christmas and what you enjoyed as a kid at Christmas time. Remember, as always, you are amazing, you are incredible, and you truly, truly do matter. Merry Christmas, you all, and I'll talk to you soon. You all, I don't know where I picked that up from. Bye, everyone.